All right, everybody, welcome into another episode of Roll Q. Today, we've got some solo laners joining us. Variety, fineokay, and Jarcorrr joining the show. Guys, thank you very much for taking time out of the schedule because a lot has changed in the solo lane since last we talked. You guys used to have these 1,700 gold items that kind of won you early game, more or less, and made you a lot stronger. I feel like solo lane's been kind of weird ever since you guys lost the shields. Variety, we could start with you. What was your reaction whenever you didn't have to build Glad or Berserker shield every game anymore?
Thank God for that. That's all I can say, really. It was so stale and so boring that my mind was just booming. Let's just put it that way.
Sure, fair enough. Fine. How about for you?
I thought it was pretty good. The only issue that I saw with it was that it kind of allowed us to have an impact in the early to mid game. Like if people started to fight over at blue buffs, then we could kind of carry the fights, and that felt good. But it was getting really, really old to just have to build that every single game. And it kind of also, it became one of those things where it was always what gods could abuse the item the most that made the meta. So that was also a downside to it.
Yeah, King Arthur. Excuse me. Jarcorrr, were you excited as well?
Yeah, I mean, I always love the change. Like when you have to play the game in a different way, I like it. So, I mean, it was good. So, I mean, the transition, like just building the same items every single game to trying different things. So, for example, at the beginning, people start building like Gaia 2 and maybe full boots. I don't know, slash first item. So, it was like a different chief, I think, for the lane.
Yeah, definitely been a lot different ever since those shields left. And ever since, it's kind of been a lot of different things. A lot of Soul Eater these days being built over there. I think we've started to see solo laners trend away from Soul Eater a little bit, if my memory serves. Fine, why do you think that is? Or correct me if I'm wrong, that we're seeing a little bit less Soul Eater and a little bit more Stone of Gaia early on?
I think mainly, I mean, Stone of Gaia is just better because it's a lot of out of combat healing, and Soul Eater can do that as well. But whenever it comes to the team fights, people are going to have anti-heal. There's a lot of double lifesteal builds right now. There's a lot of other stuff. So the item gets countered pretty hard. The only characters I still think it's viable on are characters that like the percentage pen and the damage that you get from it. So like Wukong is a good example of that. He can kind of be safe in the early game and still build the item. But I think people are starting to realize that once you buy Soul Eater, especially after they nerfed it, it feels horrible. You have to get it stacked before it feels like even like really like an item. You know, you get like basically 10% CDR and a little bit of ability healing and 20 power. And if you're just fighting somebody that has Gaia or maybe another item like Void Shield, Berserkers, or Sledge, then you're just going to get out traded really hard.
Did you guys expect a little bit more character differential after the changes to the shields? Because I thought that all these characters that we didn't see before, Wukong's a good example of one that actually has seen play that didn't really see play during the Glad Shield era, but we still see Arthur be pretty successful. I guess we've seen a few more Guardians make their way over to the solo lane, but Jarcorrr, did you expect a bigger change to the viability in solo lane, or do you think that it's been a little bit bigger than I'm making it out to be?
My first look was that the Guardian gonna be like more like better than the Warriors at the beginning. Just because like you feel stronger being a Guardian in the lane. When we start, for example, I mean, I remember it was like Cthulhu released too, so it was gonna be a solo laner, so you feel pretty good playing Cthulhu against anything in the lane. Then people start playing Amaterasu again, and that god is just something else, like in another level, I think. So I think if you play Ama or any Guardian, you should be good. So I mean, the only issue that I have with the picks right now is there is like two good picks that can do a lot, and then you have like all the rest of the picks. So for example, you have Ama Cthulhu that can run team fight pretty well by themselves, and you have all the rest of the gods. That is like the way I see it. And even though, for example, if you pick Cthulhu, you're gonna get like just kill every single time. So yeah, so fun this lane.
Teams are definitely going to be building to kill you on Cthulhu pretty much every team fight, because otherwise the alternative usually isn't too good for them. What about for you, Harry? You've seen a lot of different metas kind of come and go at the top level. Did you expect a bit more of a switch up, or did we arrive kind of where you thought we would?
I thought that natural like sustain got like gods like tier. That's why I think Amy's so prevalent right now is because she has really good like natural sustain regardless of what item she builds, and that's why there's gods like Sobek and Tyr are like still relevant in the meta because they just have natural healing, so they can naturally win the lane regardless of items built. I did think even before the Glad Shields getting removed and stuff, changed. I do think that Guardian Solo were going to be better because of Lifesteal Boots becoming like just a better item. And I kind of think that item's just OP in solo on Guardians, honestly. But yeah, I think the buffs to Stunner Guy kind of made it so the meta can still be relatively the same with every god. So like, for example, people still play Arthur because the items which give him sustain, like HP sustain, are like better than what they were before. So you can still pretty much play Arthur the same way almost. So yeah.
Yeah, a little bit less healing during your abilities, but your downtime healing is like way more with Gaia for sure. You guys have all kind of mentioned Guardians in the gods that have been pretty successful over there for you. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up one of everyone's favorite solo laners, Sobek. How excited are you guys whenever your team goes, hey, Harry, Sobek's looking pretty good here. Are you just like, yes, baby, lock that in for me, or you know that you're in for another pretty boring 15-minute laning phase?
I mean, the last time I picked Sobek, I got soloed twice and died 5 times in the game and threw it. So I think the Sobek's in the freezer for a little bit. But before then, I was down to play Sobek whenever. Honestly, I think he's fun.
Really? I was going to say, I thought that was you were out playing your teammates being like, no, I can't play Sobek because see what happened. I died 5 times and got soloed twice. But I thought you were just playing 4D chess. Fine, I know you are very excited.
Aggro. I actually have this ready because I was expecting a Sobek question. So let me just get a quick sip of this real quick. All right.
Is that what you do before every Sobek game?
Yeah. I mean, that's whenever my team asks me to play Sobek, I basically just have to take a shot of that so that I'm like ready to, grind out the first 20 minutes. I mean, the team fights are actually pretty fun on Sobek. Like that's how it is in most Guardians, to be honest. Guardians are really fun when it comes to the team fights. It's just the laning phase that is like a bit of a bore. But there is one fun part about Sobek. Sobek's like, you can't out trade him, and he can just basically how he wins the lane is he just walks up and starts audioing you, and you can't you're not going to out trade him because he's tankier and he also sustains more. So he just sits there and hits you, right? And if you're playing the Sobek and you're against a character that's trying to win lane, it's pretty funny to just walk up and start hitting them, and then just see their hopes and dreams just die. It's just troll.
Very classic solo laner. I'm having my most fun when someone else is having no fun at all.
Exactly.
That checks out pretty nicely. Jarcorrr, I know that you've some Sobek in the God pool for you that if I can recall, I've seen you play it, but not quite as much as some of these other guys. Is it just the way you think your team plays, or are you begging them to not make you play Sobek?
The thing about Sobek is that when we play it, we haven't performed well with the Sobek, but it's not the Sobek fault, It's like the team that doesn't know how to play around the Sobek. That's the thing. So that is why, yeah. That is why, they don't trust the god. So I just rather keep it in the freezer too. So
all right. So it sounds like you want to be playing Sobek, but the team just needs to get ready for it, right? All right, well, maybe in the future for you guys. Well, let's talk a little bit more about some fun laning phases that you guys like to have, particularly on gods that are not traditional solo laners or warriors or guardians. Jarcorrr, we can start with you. What are some of your off-meta sort of picks that you love to play in ranked and in casual games and that kind of stuff?
Maybe it's not off-meta, but I love play Mulan. I find that character is so fun to play and have a lot of outplay potential in the lane. Because your grapple, your 3, your healing, your 2, you need to be aware all the time because always people can cancel your abilities. You know how to when you need to also. Gonna be weird, and I enjoy just playing that god a lot.
So classic Sanguine, man. I'm asking you to tell me some troll stuff that you're playing, and you still have to pick something good in a warrior. You guys you're just looking at the tier list, and you're only taking from the top. I feel like.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes in the Sanguine house,
Yeah,
I
the
suppose.
way to
Fine. How
go.
about for you? You do your A to Z series. You must have found something that's weird in there that you like playing.
Right now, I actually really like Pele and a Willix. I think they're really fun. And if you build them like with Soul Eater and a bit like Bruiser, but maybe like transition to damage late game with like a Heartseeker and stuff, they're actually like they can carry ranked games and they're really fun to play because they also have a lot of outplay potential, especially a Willix. But yeah, those are my two right now. And then, Hades, of course. Not that
Of course.
not that I think he is that fun, but he's broken, and I think people just don't understand how broken he is.
Dude, I've been saying Hades is OP. A 2-second fear. 2 seconds, Harry.
Yeah,
What
for real.
are you making that face for? 2 seconds on a regular
It's
ability.
Hades, man. It's Hades. Come on.
What do you mean? It's Hades,
You
exactly.
You
He's
hit
OP.
2 and you full cleared the wave. Like, oh god, I can't. I'm gonna have an aneurysm.
Fair enough. By the way, fine. How do you even clear the wave as a Willix solo? Do you have to like auto them or 3 your lane opponent to group up the minions for an AoE 2? Is that how you clear most of the time?
Wait, one sec.
Yeah, ready? You're on a computer. Just type it.
True.
You can do that, but a lot of time, like if you're playing against a good player, they'll just hit you, which is kind of an issue because Willix doesn't have sustain, and you'll kind of just get owned. But usually, what you do in the early game is you just like sit back and throw out 3s, and you can hit the front minions plus the enemy soul lane or get some Warrior's Blessing procs, and eventually you'll be able to, just 2 the wave and full clear it. But you could also just hit them, just try and kill them because you actually have a lot of damage. So, it's just play back and then go on them when they get feisty.
Sure. A little bit of a slower laning phase makes sense. Variety, how about for you? What are some of your weird picks that you like to play?
I would say Giannis, honestly. If any of the OG EU players remember Dracula V playing Giannis solo and just proxying out your Phoenix at like level 5 and then just ulting away every time anyone tries to gank him, I love that god.
You know,
He's like so annoying to play against, it just makes it way more fun.
That sounds an
Exactly.
awful lot like a strategy I'm seeing employed in the solo lane right now in ranked. DS has picked up a Giannis as of late.
He's a Dracula V wannabe. That's what he is.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment there for sure. All right, let's talk about some of your favorite metas throughout the years. What are some of the times that you can remember having the most fun over in solo where you felt like maybe you were having a lot of impact, maybe you felt like you could just coast and not worry about it because someone else was going to do the work for you? Jarcorrr, we can start with you. What are some of your most fun metas you played over there in the short lane?
That's a hard question because I've been playing this role for like year and what is this, like year and a half. So I just play since Warrior Blessing was a thing in solo. So like when it wasn't like a thing, I used to play jungle. So, but I like if you're gonna like ask me what meta was fun, I love playing Arthur and smacking my head on the keyboard and running at people at like for 4 minutes into the game. Yeah, I personally enjoy that. Like for example, when that game came up, I remember saying that the god is so trash. Then I like playing and playing and playing and playing, and yeah, I just started having fun with the god.
Turns out he ended up being pretty good there. I didn't know that you just transitioned to solo that recently. I thought you'd been playing that role for a while. What was one of the harder parts of transitioning from jungle to solo for you?
I think knowing the matchups, knowing when you can trade people, when you are losing a trade, when you should pick a god in any situation, that was like the hard part to do. But I have my boy fineokay here. I actually watch a lot of videos of him learning how to play the lane. I'm not joking. Why are you laughing? I'm being serious.
No, I appreciate it. I'm laughing because I'm
Yeah.
humbled.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
fine then.
It's just
Wow,
crazy to me
fine.
because now the grasshopper surpassed the. Wait, what's the saying we're going for here?
The student
sensei
has
or
become
whatever.
the master, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what you're looking for there.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
now, fine. Your whole team. Next time you're playing up against Sanguine and Jarcorrr is like owning in team fights. Your team's gonna be mad at you because you kind of gave him the info to get there.
Yeah.
Fine. What about for you? What are some of your favorite metas?
Can always go back to like the Death Toll Bluestone meta because I think it required like a lot of when you're playing the laning phase, it required a lot of thought, and there was a lot of 1v1 potential, a lot of kill potential. So that was always nice. But also, I think like I guess it goes in with what I'm just saying just before, but the season 4 meta, like right before Worlds, I thought that was a really good meta and really fun because you'd 2v2 a lot, and you'd fight a lot, and also if you got ahead in solo, which you usually did, the two biggest people on the map were usually the ADC and the solo in that meta because the ADC got Bumbas and just like farmed all the jungle and like farmed his lane, and then Soul Laner had like the imps or whatever they were called, and like you also fought a lot over there, so they get a lot of kills, and the tank items at that point were really good as well, so you could just hard carry games, and you were so hard to deal with. That was when like Kakolin, Benji made a big showing on Kakolin, and it's actually kind of similar to the meta now, where like people weren't really building Glad Shield; they were building like Gaia and like Mystical, or going like Death Stole route and going into that. And I like that, but I also like the meta right now because what I've learned about the meta right now is that it's not so much about the lane matchups. Like they're important, and they always will be, just because you can win the whole game off of a bad matchup. But you actually counterpick their carries a lot these days, which I think is really interesting and really fun, because if you pick incorrectly and you pick a really bad character into their carries, you're going to get absolutely dumpster when it comes to late game. And I think solo kind of is like a late game frontline role right now. Whereas if you pick a really good character into them, then you could make them, useless. So
I think one of the things that stands out to me about solo lane right now is that it's really more hybrid based than it has been throughout a lot of its time. It was kind of like when you were really far ahead, you can go pure damage and you would just be so tanky it wouldn't matter. Or you could go, in later years, you were going full tank just to try and survive against damage. Yeah, anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like right now solo laners kind of understand that building full tank doesn't do anything for you anymore because there's so much damage in the game. So it's like, why am I going to have 300 prots when I could have like 215, but also actually win trades with like a Heartseeker late game, or a Sledge in the early game or something like that. Variety, do you see it that same sort of way? Do you like the way it is right now with that kind of hybrid build?
Yeah, I think people started to realize that mostly last year, honestly, with with just getting one shot late game, by regardless of what items you have. So yeah, I remember last year I used to build like what was it? Hydras and Crusher and Achilles late game. But then to be fair, he does have his passive, which is kind of like an item in itself. But yeah, I think just going full tank is never really the play anymore because of the new percentage pen changes. So yeah,
might as well get some damage in there. Well, what are some of your favorite metas that you played in, Harry?
I think, Jesus, I can't even remember that far back. I think season 3, like not the world's meta, that even though that was fun. I think season 3, like the start of the season, where like there's just a lot of 2v2ing around solo lane, and I think you used to start on speed with your jungler or something like that, and it'd be a lot of invades and just a lot of fighting in solo. And I think that is the year when they had the fire imps, wasn't it? Was that 4?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd say that.
I think it was, remember, because they had
both.
the 3 and then they switched it to only 2 or something, or it was 2 and then 3.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, season 3 it was 3 of them, I think, and then they got changed to
Wait, oh no,
2.
wait, it wasn't season 3 when they had speed buff, and each one of them gave a third speed buff.
Yeah, at the very beginning, because speed got removed, and they were on the imps, but then everyone hated it, so they, at least all the pro players hated it especially, and so they put speed buff back because junglers without speed, yada yada, they just can't play the game without it. And then it got changed to just like the XP camps. That was an interesting time for sure. The fire imps.
I think that was probably the funnest meta because of just the fighting and the snowballing. Even though it's not as fun for like someone who plays mid or support, it's definitely like the most fun for me. And another one is, even though it wasn't the meta, I just miss playing the old Terra solo and just sitting in lane AFK and hitting 5 and just pressing 5 whenever there was like a team fight on the other side of the map, and just getting like 3 golds from it. That was honestly the best time of my life playing this game. Just playing Terra AFK in lane, just literally getting XP and gold from doing nothing. It was just beautiful.
We could probably, Gibalanque solo, you can do the same sort of thing now, help the team as soon as you hit 5. Let Guy J play a frontliner. Change the meta, Harry. Do what makes you happy, man.
Do you know what? I'm telling my team right after this, on scrims, I'm playing SPL solo.
Apologize to Heroin and Snoopy for me that I'm
Yeah.
ruining a day of their scrims. That one's
And
on
the
me,
other
I
team that we're
suppose.
playing.
Yeah,
And
well,
scrim partners will
that's their fault.
apologize
Like,
for
They're
whatever.
ruined anyway, though, right? Come on. It's not your fault, Aggro.
True.
Yeah, very fair, very fair. Guys, what are some of the who are some of the underrated solo lane players in ranked these days? Because I feel like solo lane is one of those that, because if I'm playing mid against someone, sometimes I can write it off as, oh, it's just jungle diff, and that's why that guy's outplaying me in mid. But solo lane is so much more 1v1 focused that I feel like you guys probably get a pretty good feel for who's got a feel for the game, just even from a short laning phase in ranked. Are there any like SML players or SEC, I should say, or ranked players who impress you every once in a while in ranked Jarcorrr?
I haven't played that much ranked solo because like clear ranked in the solo lane is like the worst thing you can do. I think like it's the worst role to play in ranked, but someone have to do it, right? So when for example you're queen and no one wants the role, I sometimes play. I actually there is a guy that is called Heat that is actually a Latam guy. He's from Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and he's actually pretty good at the lane. So I'm pretty sure that he's good to play against.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Heat is definitely a name that I recognize, and he's been at the
Yeah.
SEC level for a little bit. Fine, how about for you?
I think there's a lot, actually. I think Nick, Relentless One, or Russian Poppy, as he was before, he had a short stint in the SPL, I think, on Enemy, was it? In like season 3 or season 4? I think it was called a Roozies back
Yeah.
then.
Yep.
But he's really good right now. I think Haddix is still really good. I think he could probably be SPL level. There's another guy, I think his name's Dishonored, who's pretty good.
Mhm.
I think maybe he's a little bit worse than Russian Poppy and Haddix, but like the potential is there. And I agree with Jarcorrr that I think Heat is, I think, really good as well. He could definitely be SPL level.
Cool. Variety, anyone stand out to you?
I think the SEC players aren't actually that bad. I think all of them could be at least SPL, like at least like 0-9 team SPL level.
You looking for your successor there, Harry? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Gonna give up the throne at some point, I suppose, but maybe not yet. We got to keep you around at least a little bit longer. All right, one of my favorite parts, but I don't know how much you guys like it. I love to make you guys describe the way each other play the game, and some of the standout things about each other's play style. Jarcorrr, let's start with what you think of when you're playing against Variety. What are some things that stand out about the way that Harry plays the laning phase in the game?
I feel like when you play against Harry, he always went to. I feel like he's scared. For example, the first like minutes, I feel like I'm gonna get soloed. For example, like at the beginning of the game, and I find it like it's like weird that he still sometimes he like always do boots. I don't know why. But he loves going like boots one instead of poison when could like go poison and outtrade me like because he outtrade me just with boats. For example, I have like a multi kit of potions in my inventory. So yeah. I think that should be a thing to say.
He's the trade king early game. It sounds
Yeah.
like. Fine. How about for you? What stands out for you about Variety?
Usually, I feel like Variety knows what's good usually in the meta, and it's really weird because whenever we scrim them, he doesn't play what's good. Obviously, nobody does. Nobody wants to play what's good, but he'll be pulling out like the Poseidon solos and all that. But
Hell yeah. Hell
but
yeah.
I think I always think that Harry knows what like he'll play when it comes to SPL at least, like what's good, even when maybe some other people aren't playing it. And I think that's a really good quality to have, like especially in solo lane, because I feel like, I mean, Jarcorrr said it earlier, you kind of need to play the two, like whatever characters are at the top, or that most people think are at the top.
Variety, how do you think your game has changed over the years? Because you've kind of had an all over the place career. It's been a wild ride for you.
Probably like that. No, wrong way. Like that.
We're on the downslope right now, but that just means you're going up soon, you know?
True, true, true. Honestly, I don't really know, to be honest. I can't really tell what's changed about myself. Like, I don't even know. I still feel like I'm just pretty consistent in every stage of the game. I feel like very rarely that I mean, back then I could lose the game for my team a lot more in the first 5 minutes, but I feel like recently, like as in the past few years, I haven't really done that. And I'd say that's the only thing that I can say that I've changed. It's probably just consistency.
Sure. Apologies if you guys can hear Mackenzie. She's kind of losing her mind right now, but that's kind of what we got to deal with from the work from home. How different has it been for you, Variety, joining up with a bunch of these NA guys now? You're the lone European in a sea of NA guys in the United House.
I don't really know, to be honest. It's kind of hard to say because I've had like 4 teammates this year so far, so
Yeah.
it's been ever changing. I don't really know. I kind of
Sure.
don't have an answer, honestly.
Fair enough. No, it's that's totally fair. Let's talk about Jarcorr's play style then, because he's the one that you guys had the least experience against coming into this year, of course, but have played against a good amount as we're in phase 2 already. Variety, what stands out for you whenever you play against Jarcorrr?
Before I say that, I actually want to say that every single time there's been like a LAN and Jarcorr's meant to go to it, and there's been like some sort of issue with being able to arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's always said that if they had him, they would do a lot better because he's like their best player or their second best player. And I definitely think now that they're in the SPL, I definitely think that that stands true. And yeah, I just think that he's a really good, like, just a solid laner. He can like solo carry a game if he gets a lead in solo. I'm not sure if it's hard to say like when it comes to comms, but I feel like it seems like from a observer point of view that he's very good at calling over the right people at the right time to like come and help him in lane when he needs to. I don't know, like defend his blue or get a blue, or like when he can get a kill on someone. I'm just gonna give him the credit for that because he's a solo laner. So yeah.
Right, of course. Yeah, you got to give the credit where it's due to the solo laners. Fine. How about for you? What have you seen from Jarcorrr during your time playing against him?
Jarcorrr is clinically insane, and I know that because he can top 3 his god every single game in scrims and in SPL in ranked, play the same few gods, and be obviously he's like really, really, really good at those gods, and probably like one of the best at them. But I think he's clinically insane. That's all.
All right, clinically insane. You need some help there, Jarcorrr, potentially based on fineokay's diagnosis. Jarcorrr, what has it been like for you? You know, getting ready to come to the SPL. Like Harry said, a lot of times you weren't able to come to the lands. You probably didn't know exactly what it was going to be like. What's it been like playing at this level? Was it what you expected?
I mean, it's weird because I mean, being here, like at all the situation of the virus of the war and everything is happening right now, playing like at home here, I just feel like I'm playing from Colombia. Like I feel like I'm still in my country. Obviously I have less ping. I have like 100 less ping, but I think like it's the same. It's like me and the boys just playing Smite for fun and competing against everyone. So that is
I
like
think that level of comfort
yeah.
definitely shows.
Yeah, one of the main motivation to come here was to be at the studio and meet everyone. Like being able to like play at that LAN environment. That is like what I want to expect and do. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you do what you wanted to do, and this is what we're doing right now. So, but yeah,
Yeah, hopefully sooner rather than later we can get back to that
yeah.
land setting. Did you expect to be so successful just individually, maybe not even as a team, but did you expect to be near the top of the solo lane pool this quickly into your SPL career?
I actually not. I just expect to not be last. That was like my thoughts, my initial thoughts,
I've got you covered there,
because
bro.
like when we start actually like a team thing, we all say that if we were not last, we're doing good. That is what our main like mindset when we arrive here. Like everyone individually and even as a group. Because I mean, this is like our first year here, and we are gonna try to do good against all the people that have been here for years and years and years. So it's gonna be rough, but we're gonna try. That was all our mindset. Like just try it and see what happens.
Think it's safe to say you guys will not be in last with the way that you've been playing. I think you'll be a-okay on that goal. Jarcorrr, what's it been like playing up against fineokay in the SPL? You said you watched a lot of his videos to kind of change roles and everything like that. How different has it been? Has it been what you expected playing against Fine? What are some of the things that stand out to you when you're playing against him?
I mean, he's like, I mean, I don't know how you say it, like in English, but when you like admire something, like when someone is like a hero to you, for to say it that way, like when you see someone doing a lot of thoughts, a lot of time, when you actually enjoy and learn a lot from someone, that is why I see Final Game every time I play. I mean, recently I feel like he's trolling, but I mean, come on, come on. Just being honest, but the guy is like a beast, and if when he wake up to play, he gonna like stomp everyone. That is like the way I see it. So, but
Listen,
yeah.
man, when you're around PBM and Captain Twig and Sam and Panda all day, you've got no choice but to troll every once in a while. Okay, that one's out of Fine's hands. Harry, how about for you? What have you seen in Fine's game as he's kind of grown into his own at the SPL level?
I'd say a lot smarter picks when it comes to not like just the counter pick in general. Like he said earlier about picking into the enemy team. I think he's become a lot smarter doing that. And also, I know like Mike likes to like release little clips of games which are played, and I think maybe in the rival series as well they have like voice comms. I think that his late game like calling is pretty good as well. I'd say like he's probably a focus point on why they are like so dominant late game, as well as like people like Mike as well, obviously. But yeah,
Sure.
I'd say probably his like his late picking like counters and his probably his late game shot calling.
Fine. Last time we sat down to do one of these solo role queues, you were still, trying to be one of those mainstay solo laners. I feel like you were still trying to work your way up. And now that we're doing this one here in season 7, you are not trying to hold on to your SPL spot. You're trying to hold on to the number 1 solo laner spot as an individual player. How do you think that your game has changed, and what have been some of the big steps you think you've made to get to this point?
Yeah, real quick before I say it, I just want to say that I called Jarcorrr clinically insane, then he said I was his hero. So now I feel like now I feel like a horrible person. No, but I was saying insane in a good way. So at the end of the day, thank you, Jarcorrr, and I think you're a beast as well. So don't worry about that. But what was the question? Oh, so yeah, okay. I just feel like I've kind of whenever you play around like really good players, I think it helps a lot. Because obviously they're going to push you to be really good, and they're going to like tell you what they know about the game, maybe what some players that they've played with in the past have done. So I think that helps, but I also think that like a lot of players have potential. Like the people I talked about earlier, there's some SCC players that probably could play in the SPL right now. If they were surrounded by really good players, they could eventually be like, in contention for those top spots as well. And I don't know. I just feel like with the right mindset and like attitude, I think that's probably the 2 most important things when it comes to stuff like this, because I don't think Smite is the most difficult game in the world. There's some hard aspects to it. Communication's obviously really important in a team environment and all that. But if you just have like a positive attitude and keep your mental set and like, keep your eyes on the prize, not to sound corny, but it's really true. And you just play around the good players that have experience and know what they're doing, then I think you can only improve. And I think that's probably the most important thing. Not even talking about the gameplay itself,
Yeah, you say Smite's not that hard. You should tell that to my 2200 MMR queues. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about it. Those games are impossible.
It's okay. They're not spending all day committing to the game like I am. So I would hope that maybe they're a little bit less good than me.
Right. Fair enough. All right, guys. Before we go, I want to talk about some things. If you were unlucky enough to get queued into solo lane, Jarcorrr, in ranked, what are some of your biggest ranked pet peeves that your teammates or enemies will do that you really, really hate playing with or against in ranked?
I hate playing against Drone Story. Like that is the thing that I'm going to say. I mean, I have to say it because
Have to.
like he plays every single goal that is lucky. That's the thing. I mean, if you see him playing like a warrior or something, because he's weird, see him piloting those, but if you play that, he plays like a lucky, like hiding behind the tower, just blinking to get away of you, and then pushing the way. Like the way he plays is like PBing all the way up until he have
Yep.
like full width, and then try to kill a carry or two. That is how he plays. So when I queue rank as a solo laner, I just want to like smash the other guy and the other guy smashing me and just win or lose or whatever happens first. Like if I get solo like 3 times, you go next. Or see I solo him 3 times, you nice, let's try to win. But I mean, I don't know. That is like,
Sometimes it's just not in the cards. I hear you on
yeah.
that. I hear you loud and clear. I do. Fine. How about for you? What are some of your big pet peeves?
I have a few. Number one is when you kill the enemy jungler around your lane, or he dies around the lane, or maybe he gets really low and backs, and the blue's like nothing's to be done over there. Like the blue's gone. That's why we just fought and everything. And then he comes back out of base. He comes from base straight back to your lane. So he just died, or maybe just had like a bad experience over there. So he comes straight back to gank you. There's a lot of people who do that. Adapting does that a lot, and I hate it. I also hate when people spam totem, like spam ping it and like grab it, like get it and all that. I know they're joking most of the time, but
Well, I mean, as someone who spams totem a lot, I need the mana,
I know.
man.
Yeah, I know. But
I need it.
I don't know. How am I supposed to play Geb solo and get totems when I'm supposed to be helping you late game? You just gotta hold out for the late game.
I guess so. If you're
Then
picking
you'll be getting
Geb,
shields
then...
on cooldown.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah,
That's a trade I'm willing to make. Harry, how about for you? Do you is there anything you in particular really hate about ranked?
The whole thing. The whole thing.
There is not a single moment of joy for you there, huh?
No. Honestly, even though it's not Conquest, like I made a tweet about playing ranked joust and maybe you want to cry. Played against the same 2 people 2 games in a row. We beat them the first time, plus 24. Yippee. Lost the second time, minus 133 MMR. Jesus, man. But yeah. I'd honestly say the totem thing's probably the most annoying. Especially when they say good game after the first totem's gone. Like, bro, he got creep orange, he hit level 2 off the first wave. What do you want me to do?
Did you see the clip of me getting 6 minions on the first wave? Any of you see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Harry, so you know how you do the blue buff and walk the lane, and usually you're like, all right, hopefully I can get that one minion, the one melee minion before it dies. And usually you do. I walked into lane and got 6 minions, no wave manipulation or anything, and the enemy solo got 3. So nobody touched the wave, and I got 6. There's a clip of it. It's so troll. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's so weird.
You better have snowballed that game, Alec. I mean, the guy.
I got first blood. I hit level 2 and killed him because of it. So yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, that is my pet peeve.
Yeah.
The random creep orangey on who hits 2 on the first wave. Like sometimes it's both of you, sometimes it's neither of you. But I feel like most of the time, at least my luck anyway, it's the other person hits 2. I feel like honestly, I generally feel like 70% of my SPL games, the other person hits 2 in the first wave. So that is why we're 0-9.
I think it might be Herwin's bad luck aura. You're set up right next to him, I think, right? So you might be catching some of that coming from his computer. As we all know, no one is as unlucky as Herwin, right? Like, just so we're all
That's true. Especially in ranked.
Okay. Especially in ranked, no doubt. Guys, thank you very much for the time. I hope that it wasn't too bad for you. We had some fun, and we'll catch you guys next time here on Roll Queue.